Indonesian Telecommunication Regulatory Authority (BRTI) support an inline program with my research on digital transformation for sustainable governance in Indonesia, a policy and regulatory impact assessment. BRTI. BRTI is the Indonesian Telecommunication Regulatory Authority. BRTI is an independent body in the Ministry of Communication and Information of the Republic of Indonesia. There are 9 commissioners of BRTI. BRTI has collegiate relation system given the right of equal vote for each member. The objective of BRTI are as follows. First, to organize and to stipulate the regulation of telecommunication network and services implementation. Second, to supervise the telecommunication network and service implementation. And the last one, to control the telecommunication network and services implementation. The structure of BRTI is as follows. The first 3 commissioners are the representative of the government sectors, while the 6 other commissioners are representing the element of telecommunication stakeholders in the society. The first commissioners, who is the chairman of BRTI, is also Director General of PPI, Post and Informatics Implementation. The second commissioner, who is the vice chairman, is also the Director General of ISDE PPI, Resource for the Post and Informatic Implementation. While the next commissioner is also the special staff member to the Minister of Communication and Information. The other 6 commissioners are appointed from the stakeholders through a fit and proper test. The specialization of each of the 6 commissioners that I mentioned above is as follows. First, the Commissioner for Telecommunication Technology. The second is the Commissioner for the legal aspect of the regulation. Number 3 is the Commissioner for the open competition system of the industry. Number 4, the Commission for the public policy in terms of customer protection. Number 5, the Commissioner for the microeconomic affairs. And the 6th, which is myself, is the Commissioner for the macroeconomic affair. The emblematic projects of BRTIs are comprised of, first, the Dialogue Forum for Digital Economy and Digital Government stakeholders. This dialogue invites all stakeholders to identify challenges of existing policy and regulation and requesting input for revision. Continuous discussion and interaction between policymakers, regulators, and stakeholders are maintained. This is an interactive forum for digital economy, policy, and regulatory. The second program is the Developing Telecommunication Policy and Regulatory, a needs assessment in this project. In this project, a need assessment for policy and regulatory is carried out. This is an effort to catch up with the advancement of technology. Some findings shows that non-technical challenges is more dominant than the technical aspect of policy and regulatory. A multi-sectoral regulatory approach is in the system. The third one is the monitoring and supervision of telecommunication industrial performance. Industrial performance is one of our concern. Efficiency and sustainability are taken into account in the evaluation of industrial performance. Besides, quality of service and customer experience are also taken into account. The monitoring and the evaluation carried out can be annually or 3 to 5 years. My current role of the Commissioner for Macroeconomic Affairs is, among others, first, carrying out impact analysis of telecommunication policy and regulatory to socio-economic element. Among others, reviewing licenses, operational performance standards, quality service standards, and telecommunication standard for telco companies. Reviewing costs of interconnection for cellular operators based on costs, especially for dominant player or dominant operators. Second, carrying out supervision and control on operational performance, business competition, and the utilization of tool and equipment of all telecommunication companies. The last one, carrying out socio-economic analysis policy and regulation related to digital economy, such as for financial inclusion and transformation sharing based on application. Multidisciplinary approach is taken into account in this program. My relevant project involvement in BRTI is as follows. First is in facing challenges of banking regulation on development of financial inclusion and telco as payment bank. This is a joint effort with Banking Regulation Authority in Indonesia and the Coordinating Ministry for Economic Affairs. The main issue here is to synchronize telecommunication policy and regulation with that of Banking Regulatory Authority. Besides, I'm also involved in identification of problem of policy and regulation for transportation sharing based on application. This is a joint effort with the Ministry of Transportation and the Agency for National Planning. The main issue here is the multi-sector coordination in developing policy and regulation. Basically, as the Commissioner for the Macroeconomic Affairs, I'm involved for a certain degree in all activities of preparing and reviewing most of the policy and regulatory. My concern will always be in the impact of the policy and regulatory for the macroeconomic perspective. My concern is how can all the policy and regulatory in telecommunication and digital economy can have role for the increasing growth of the national economy. In this research, mainly I would like to do social economic impact analysis of digital governance. Digital governance is a way to do policy and regulatory impact assessment. It is true that it can create shadow economy. That's why there's some question arose. First, does digital governance involve the tax avoidance? Secondly, does digital economy not follow unusual unemployment framework? Does digital governance away from conventional administrative procedure? This is all my question. Besides that, we would like to answer, is it easier to do business with digital governance? How digital governance can create digital culture, will provide new governance opportunities for democracy, and also will support the development of public institutions? That is the answer that we would like to know from the research. The motivation to apply for government fellow at the United Nations University is to facilitate my plan in conducting research on digital governance. The research will be initiated in Indonesia while I'm conducting my duty as the Commissioner for Macroeconomic Affairs. The initiated program will be comprised of, first, the identification of existing policy and regulatory in Indonesia. Number two, An impact assessment analysis of existing policy and regulatory in Indonesia. And number 3, we would like to monitor and evaluate digital governance at the global level, especially for some developing countries. Why developing countries? It is hoped that the challenges and the situations are much similar to the case of Indonesia. My motivation of conducting research in digital transformation for sustainable governance in Indonesia, a policy and regulatory impact assessment, is to catch up the challenges of technology, to catch up with the technology advancement in digital economy so that the benefit is for the society. Short-term and long-term impacts should be identified since they can be completely different from each other. Long-term impacts should become the input for the future prepared policy and regulation. Digital communication has become basic needs for everybody. However, for management and security, digital governance will become an important aspect. My expectation for this policy shift is as follows. Digital world changes very fast and impacts are global. All policy and regulations should be adapted to the advancement of technology. All policy and regulation should seem from global perspective. I'm hoping my research in the environment of the United Nations University will give me a chance to interact with global perspective, given research at this university is carried out for global academic society. I'm confident global perspective at United Nations research community will enhance the success of my research activities. Besides, with the total immersion of 3 months in the United Nations University, I'm confident that I will be able to finish my regulatory impact assessment and the digital government policy papers. Good day, everybody. I look forward to participating in the research program of the United Nations University. Digital governance, yes.